Today, I have my class here, my students. Say hey, everyone. Gonzalo, you're on YouTube now. Gene, you're on YouTube. Mercer, you're on YouTube. Say hello to the peeps out there.
Mm,
All right. Christina's up there. Okay, so um, for today, we are going to be covering Clara.io. We're just going to do the very, very basic stuff. I want everybody in here to get comfortable with it. And I'm still learning the program too. I'm still, picking up tips and tricks here. And this is actually one of the first ones that I actually picked up yesterday. So here's what I want everybody to do. If everybody could go up to where edit is, so like up at the very top, typically we would call this a ribbon like in any other program. Today it's no different. We're going to call this our ribbon. So up where it says file, um, up at the top. And actually, let me share my screen with you all. My fault. Okay, so up here at the very top, you'll see file, edit, view, select, create, so on and so forth. Well, here, I want everybody to click on edit, and we're going to go down to where it says preferences. All right, so we're going to set a couple of preferences here to kind of be a little bit different. Shortcut styles, I actually changed this to 3ds Max. I just found out about this yesterday. There are certain shortcuts that are a little bit different in Clara and in 3ds Max, and also in Maya, specifically with the shortcut styles. So I'm just going to click on 3ds Studio Max. Right here, navigation style. I changed this to Maya because Maya, the way that you navigate in Maya is actually really close to how you navigate in 3ds Max. In Clara.io, like the navigation style that they have there, it's a lot different from those other programs. So I'm just going to switch up to Maya. Now, I know that with your quiz and stuff, like I asked you to base it off of the videos. To be honest, like after a while, you'll just start picking it up. Like it's really, even though they're different between programs, you do just start like picking it up. I mean, because the two main things that you'll use on your keyboard are Control and Alt, and then on your mouse, you're going to use your mouse wheel and your left and your right click. So there's only so much that you can really do with that. And everything else, I'm going to leave the same for right now, and I'm going to go ahead and press done. All right, so as I was mentioning, I don't know if I did this yesterday or when it was, but these are going to be called your viewports here. As mentioned too, you can make them bigger by clicking on these arrows to make them bigger or smaller. You can also take up like 2 of these. Typically, what I'm going to do is I am going to be working in my perspective view a good bit. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just going to be using my perspective view. I want you all to know that it's going to be very easy for you to say, oh, I'm going to work on my perspective view because I can see everything. That is the case like that. That is definitely something like an argument that is valid. However, I will just admit, like, you're definitely going to have to use your other views at some points in time. Now, are you going to use them like all the time? No. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. You'll probably use like 1 or 2 views at a time, and then the rest of them, you'll know when you need to start using them. Okay, so don't worry about that. Over here on the left-hand side is where I kind of have my hierarchy. And this is once you start making objects or once you start creating your primitives in here, you're going to see them pop up on the left-hand side. If you click over here right underneath the word general, so this is our general tab. We have our model tab as well. And as you can see, and as I click on layout, it's going to start changing up, right? It's going to start looking like a lot different depending on which tab I'm in. To be 100% honest, the main ones that we're going to be, actually, we're going to use all 4 of these. So for right now, though, I do want us to stick with general. We will be moving into some of these in a little bit. So this is like the component mode. This is going to be the layout. So this is going to affect more along the environment that you've got within here. And then this is going to be your renderer. So this is going to be like how your objects start to render within the program. Just keep that in mind. For today, we're just going to stick in general. One thing that I do want you to see is that you can take your mouse and you can actually move this over to the left and you can make that disappear. And then this screen gets bigger with all your viewports in it. All right, and then you can just click on the little arrow and it'll pop back out. All right, so if you're running short on space, that's just like a nice little thing to do. And then once you expand this out, it takes the whole entire thing. Okay, so as mentioned earlier today on your quiz, I know that the navigation tools are a little bit different. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows this. So right above my perspective view, if y'all look at my perspective view, I have all these shapes. Everybody just go ahead and click on the first object, which is going to be a box. All right, so I'm just going to make a box appear here in the very middle. And I'm just going to show you how you would kind of maneuver around with this. So with Maya, the way that, and I think, yeah, with Maya, the way that you would do this is Alt is going to be like the really big key that you would use with Maya. So every time that you need to do something, you'll hold down Alt and then you'll use your mouse with it. All right. So for instance, like if I want to pan, I'll hold down Alt and then I'll click on the little mouse wheel. I'll click on the mouse wheel and it'll start going kind of back and forth. All right. Or up and down. It's just panning it, right? You're just moving around the camera. If you hold down Alt and you right click, and then you move like up and down, it'll let you zoom in and out of the object. All right. And if you want to rotate around this object that you have selected, you hold down Alt and then you left click and then you click and drag. All right. So this is going to allow you to rotate around your object, and it's always going to be around the object that you have selected. Since we only have one, that's why it's just kind of moving around this one box. Okay. So remember Alt, and then pretty much everything that you need to do is going to be using your three buttons on your mouse. If you do not have a mouse, I do apologize. Some of the stuff is going to be a little bit different. You can definitely still maneuver around. It's just going to be a little bit tougher. Like for instance, if you want to here, let me see. I guess that's not going to work. I was going to say you could also like go up to view, and you can go up to like full screen. Some of this stuff it's a little bit different from like 3ds Max. So I actually was assuming that you could like zoom in and out in the view, but you can't. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to kind of get in and out. I think if you hold down two buttons on your, like if you have a laptop, if you hold down two fingers on the mouse pad, you can zoom in and out. Oop, 3 just made all that disappear. Let's see, what else do we have on here? I guess that's going to be like the main one. Oh, if you hold on Alt and then you click and drag, you can also do that. And then actually, I guess it works the same exact way. It's just a mouse pad. It works the same way as a mouse, so never mind on that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on my object. Obviously, you have your move tool here, which is going to be right beside of your selection tool. So you have your move tool. It's right underneath the general tab. And this is just going to allow you to like move your objects back and forth, up and down along a certain axis. And then again, like you'll have to look in your other views to see exactly where your object is at. So if you want it to be like flat against this plane, so I'm gonna zoom out. If you want it to be flat against this grid, this gridded plane, you would have to look in some of these other views, more specifically your left-sided view and your front side view. Your top view is from the very top, like it's looking from the top down. So that doesn't really give you a good idea if your box is sitting flatly on the plane. So right here, so that's just the move tool. We have our rotate tool. So this is gonna, let me zoom in on this box. This is gonna bring up these gizmos, which represent the different, oops, sorry, there it goes. All right, these represent the different axes that you can rotate this object around. So if you put your mouse over a certain gizmo or a certain axis, you're going to see that it turns yellow, and that's the one that you have selected. So you can just click and drag it, and then just start rotating it around that way. And y'all definitely follow along with doing this. It's going to be very helpful. You just need to get comfortable with being able to do this stuff really quickly. If you need to undo anything, all you have to do is press Control Z, and that's just like in 3ds Max or anywhere else. You Control Z and you can undo anything. This last one is going to be your scale tool. So this one right here, let's say that you want to make this box taller. So you would go along your y-axis, and then you would just click and drag it, and could move that up, right? Just like that. Make it taller. You can make it shorter like this. If you want to make it wider, I'm using I think that's the x-axis. Yep, x-axis this way. Make it longer like that. And then the blue axis, you can make it wider in that direction too. But let's say that you want to uniformly make this shape bigger. If you look at that circle in the very middle of the shape, you put your mouse over it, it turns yellow. If you click and drag it, it will automatically make this shape bigger, okay, and uniformly. So it doesn't make like just one side bigger like you did before. It'll start making everything a lot bigger here, okay. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to click on this box, and on the right hand side, you're going to see that I have a properties window, or like a properties tab on this right hand side, okay. And on the left hand side, you'll see that the word box appeared here. Well, the property side, the main things that you are going to have to work with are going to be the depth, the width, and the height. You also have your depth, width, and height segments. So this depth, you can actually increase that. So I can just click and like move that up, down. This is just a very easy way of just making it bigger or smaller. Same with this. If you want to make it bigger or wider, you can definitely do that. And this just affects the sizing. Now these segments down here are going to be a little bit different. So what I actually want everybody to do is I just want y'all to add 2 segments on each side. Actually, add 3. So my apologies. So we're going to add 3 there. We're going to add 3 here, and then we're going to add 3 in the height segments as well. Oops, accidentally put 5. All right. And now your objects may look a little bit different to mine, and that's okay. So what I'm actually going to do is in each of these viewports, let me actually just expand out the perspective view real quick. Actually, no, I'll leave both of these up here. So I'm going to focus in on the perspective view and on the left-sided view. All right, so these top 2 views over here. Now, if you look at my perspective view, you can actually see the lines right there. That make up like those segments. So every time that I add or subtract segments away from here, I'm adding or subtracting these lines that are showing up on the faces of this object. Well, in your other views, you may or you may not see it. It just kind of depends on what you have going on. So I usually have wireframe clicked on or turned on for these other 3 views, these orthographic views. And I'm just going to click on wireframe. And as you can see here, you can also have a realistic option. So you can make these views look like your perspective view. I usually just leave it on wireframe. And I always try to make sure that I show edges with everything. More specifically, my perspective view, I always try to make sure that my edges are shown, because if you take that off, you're not going to be able to like very specifically see where the locations of these segments are. Okay, so I always try to show edges right there. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're working with it. So let's say that this object here is what I want it to look like. All right, so I've got 3 segments going across for the depth, the width, and the height. And let's say that I want to try to go ahead and start editing this shape out for whatever I need to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my model mode. So everybody go up to general, go to the general tab, and then click on model. All right, right beside of it. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. This was a big part of your quiz, which was object and component modes. All right, so remember, like what we were doing just a little bit ago, this was all on the big object, right? Like the object itself is what we were kind of like, changing around. We didn't go into like the actual geometry of the shape or anything, and like actually shift around the way that the object looks like. It just looks like a regular old box. All right. Well, this first option that you have here, this is going to be your object tool. This next one here is going to be your face tool. All right. So if you click on face, it'll allow you to like start selecting, these faces here, and they automatically turn red, or at least mine do. I think your colors are going to be the same too, though. If you ever want to select more than one shape, the best way to do that is to hold down Control, and then you click on the things that you want to have selected. Okay. If you want to unselect it, you have to, here, let me see. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to do that. I guess you can't unselect it with that. Here. I thought I had done it earlier, but All right. Well, I guess you can't unselect. So if you accidentally select something, then you just kind of have to, uh, well, I guess start over with the selection. So that's how you would select faces in there. As you can see in the other views, they do pop up. So more specifically, you can see it in your top view. Let me actually change this back to left-sided view. As you can see here, I don't really have anything selected there. I think you will be able to see it if it's on the right side view. There it goes. So you'll be able to see these are going to be this side right there. All right, so let me change this back to left side view. So that is going to allow you to select faces. I'm going to hold down edges. So if I click on edges, this is going to allow you to select various objects here, more specifically along these edges there. Now, with selections, we have these things called loops and we have these things called rings. So if you look on the left-hand side, you can actually see where it says like select loop and then select ring. All right. So if you select a loop, what this is going to do is that you click on like one of these objects, and the easiest way or the easiest way that I find is to double click on it using your mouse, right? So if you actually double click on, and you have to do it kind of not really slowly, but you know, if you double click on it, it's actually going to select this whole entire loop. All right, so this is what we call a loop in 3D modeling. And this is not new. Like this is something that you're going to see in all 3D modeling programs. All right, now if I select this one here, and then I select like select ring, this is going to select all of the or all of these edges that are along the ring of this shape. All right, so there is a lot that you can do with this. We are going to be using this a lot going forward. So I just want y'all to know that there is a difference between loops and rings. All right, and that just kind of depends on what your object looks like. And it goes a lot quicker than holding down Alt and then like selecting like the various edges that you want to have, or and actually I guess Control, my fault. And instead of like clicking on each one of these like over and over, it's just like a very easy way to select the rings and to select the loops that are found within there. All right, and then lastly, we have our vertexes. So your vertexes here, these are actually going to be like where your objects, not where your objects, where your vertices, or sorry, where your edges overlap, sorry, where they connect with each other. That is where you're going to have these different vertices here. So just be aware that we will be using a combination of all of these. The most important ones for sure are going to be these three. So you have your faces, um, you have your edges, and then you have your vertexes. All right. So also another thing that I want you all to see is that as you click on each of these components over here, you are going to have different things that you can do to them. So for instance, like an extrusion, you would 100% be able to do that with like a face. You could also do an insert with a face on here or a bevel as well. You cannot do like a bevel, like a bevel with a edge is not something that you can do. All right, so that is why these options here change. And then obviously with your vertexes, you have a little bit more to do with those as well. So let's go ahead and get started with some of these faces. So I just want you all to click on face because you are going to have to do this at some point today, more specifically. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change up the way that this shape looks like. So actually do not click on faces. I want you to click on object. All right. And I want you all to go back to the general right here. So that go back to your general tab. And I'm going to select this object here. And I'm actually going to start scaling this out. So let's actually go ahead and get started with making something. I do see that we are going to have time to do that today. I was not planning on doing that, but seeing as we have the time for it, we might as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this. And in this program, y'all, I'm not going to lie to you. I do not usually do like specific sizing. All right. And that's just me being like, me more specifically than anything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, all right, I'm going to make we're going to make a very simple chair, and I'm going to get you all to kind of like work with the specific stuff in here. So I'm just going to resize this, and I'm going to make this more of like a flatter box. So it's going to be like pretty flat. Not actually, let me make it a little bit flatter. There it goes. And I'm going to decrease the size here, probably about right there. All right. So Everybody just go ahead and um, get a box that's going to be a little bit flat. And here, there it goes. Let me undo it. Oop. All right, let's try that one more time. All right, so I'm going to make this a little flatter and just kind of expand it out. All right, so this is going to be like the cushion part, or where you would like actually sit down on your shape here. Very easy. And I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm actually going to float this up. And I'm going to double click over here on the left hand side. And I'm actually going to call this, like seat. All right, just so that I know that that's this specifically. So just like in Photoshop, you do have like this like little eyeball here. This is going to be your hide. So if you want to make it hide or like go away for a little bit, you're more than welcome to do that too. So yeah, so that's something pretty easy with that. So what I'm actually going to do now is let me zoom out a little bit. All right, and I'm actually going to make this disappear for right now, just so that it's not like floating up in the air right there. I am going to need that, so I'm going to come back to it. Let me go ahead and increase my view to cover my whole perspective right there. All right, so I'm just going to kind of work in my perspective right here. I'm going to kind of focus in, and this is honestly just me. Like I try to focus in like on a certain like square, I guess, within this plane. So I'm going to focus in on this square right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another box, all right, and I'm going to have, I'm going to use my other views here actually. So let's use our left side view, all right, right here. So I'm actually just going to move this up and have it kind of be along this side right there, all right. And all that I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my scale tool, and I'm going to increase the size of this just like that. All right, and I'm just going to move this back up to where the bottom, and if you look at my left-sided view, on my left side view, you'll see that this is actually right there, so it's like flat, or at least I'm going to try to make it flat. There it goes. That's okay. All right, so it's just kind of like sticking up, right there, as you can see. Oop. I accidentally clicked on like one of the, there it goes. And let me actually go into here too. All right. Now, I can start to see I might need to make this a little bit taller, so I'm going to increase the size even a little bit more. And again, y'all, there's no specific size. I'm just keeping it relative to what I had created before. All right, so that's the main reason why it's going to look the way that it looks. It's just based off of the cushion that I made earlier. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the object using my selection tool. I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to go up to where it says edit. Oop, there it goes. All right, so make sure you have your object selected. You're going to go up to edit, and then you're going to go to clone. And right here, I'm just going to click on copy, and I'm going to press OK. And I'm just going to go to my move tool, and now you'll see that you automatically make like another leg here, and all you had to do was clone it. All right, and what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to clone this again. So I'm just going to click on one of the legs, and I'm going to press down edit, clone. We'll do that one more time, and I'm just going to move it back this way. All right, just like that. And then I'm going to do that one more time to get the fourth leg onto there. All right, so I'm going to go to edit and then clone. And y'all, we're keeping it simple for right now. I know that some of you all like to maybe do like some 3D modeling on the side, or you've already taken like a drafting course, and like this is on, and it's not tough. Like I want us to do something kind of simple to begin with. So that's why I'm just kind of doing like a rectangular chair. We are going to start getting into more difficult stuff after this week. But for right now, I just want you all to get comfortable with like resizing and rotating and placements and like sizing and like all of the very simple stuff that you can do with this. And we're doing all of this just using boxes. So it's actually a relatively easy thing to do. So now I'm actually going to get to my hierarchy again over here on the left hand side, and I'm going to make my seat reappear. All right, and as you can see, it definitely does not match the size that I need here, but that's a good thing because I can actually just take this object now and I can move it, to kind of start placing it, and I can start to resize it here. All right, so I'm just gonna like resize the whole thing. So I'm gonna make it a lot bigger and a lot wider. All right, same thing here, and I'm just gonna start placing it on top of the object or on top of the legs more specifically. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to go to my top side view, and this is what I'm saying, like you're going to need all of your views here. If you try to you just use your perspective view here, all right, it can get kind of difficult. Like this looks like it's like right on top of it, right? Like right on top of the legs, just like this, right? But then if I start to rotate it around, you can see that it's like a little bit off. So that is why I use a combination of all of my views together. So let me actually minimize this. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm just going to work with resizing this box. Ooh, there it goes. All right, so I'm going to resize this box here in this top view. Let me go to my scale tool. There we go. And I'm going to make this thinner both ways. There it goes. And let's work with our placement. All right, just placing that on top of there. I might need to even make it a little wider, just a tad. There it goes. All right, and I'm going to move the location of those legs too, just a little bit closer to the edges. So let me go to my move tool. The seat right here, I'm going to make that disappear. Actually, let's do that in a different view. All right, here it goes. All right, so I'm just going to move the tabletop. I'm going to move it a little bit lower, or not the tabletop, but the chair top or the cushion right there. Just going to move that a little bit lower, just like that, to have it kind of overlap. And y'all, like in 3ds Max, personally, I know that I wouldn't make it overlap. I would just try to take the geometry and I would make this chair out of one box. But again, like right now, I'm just kind of trying to show you all the basics so that you can kind of work with that. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to make another box. Let's make this. Let's see. We're going to start over here. So let me figure out what view I want to work in for that. All right, so this is what that's going to look like right now. All right, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to create one more box, and I'm going to make this kind of go up here. And again, I'm kind of using my left side. I'm looking at my left-sided view to see where that box is. And then I'm just going to move the location. I'm going to center it and then move it back to the back of the chair. All right, so this is what we're going to be creating here. We are going to make the back of the chair there. All right, I'm going to go to one of the corners real quick. And I don't have a reference image. I would usually use a reference image, but seeing as it's only a chair, it's not that bad at all. I'm not going to have a reference image right now. All right, so I'm gonna start using a little bit more of different kind of things. So I'm not just gonna make complete rectangles that just kind of make the back of the chair. I'm actually gonna start using extrusions with this, and just so that we can kind of get some more practice with that. So I'm gonna select this top chair or the top of the chair, like this the back of the, I don't know what you want to call it, the chair back, I guess, if you want to say that. I'm going to click on that object or the new box that I just created right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Model, my Model tab, and I'm going to click on Face, and I'm just going to select this top face right there. If I can. Okay. Sorry, I was in my move tool. I didn't even realize that. I was in my move tool. I need to make sure that I'm in my select tool, and then I can select the individual face. So I'm just going to click on the top face of this object, and I'm going to do an extrusion. So I'm going to click extrude, and over here on the right hand side, you'll see that your properties window changes a little bit. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to increase the extrusion here. So where it says length, I'm actually going to like zoom out, and I'm going to see what a good length for this would be. There it goes. All right, so I'm actually going to make this, let's see, maybe I can type in 10. I think 10 would be an okay. That'd be okay. And as you can see, I think I accidentally moved. Yeah, I did accidentally move the whole thing. So let me go back to object. And that was my fault. I accidentally like moved it. All right, there it goes. Okay, so now at the top here, I think I extruded it too much. So let me go back to this. I'm going to change this back to, let's move this to 8. So we'll make it a little bit shorter. But then what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to extrude it one more time. So I'm going to click on the top face. I'm going to click extrude. And as you can see, let me zoom in right here so y'all can see this. So as you can see, there's like an extra extrusion right there. So I now have like an extra face right here. And that's what extrusion does. And you'll see why I'm going to do that in just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to move this extrusion. Let's move it up. Let's do a length of 1. So I'm going to do a length of 1 on there. And now depending on which direction I want it to go in, I'm actually going to get it to go into, let's say this direction over here. Okay, so I'm going to click on this inside face right there, the one that's facing like going to the left. I don't know if y'all can see that right there. And I'm going to do another extrusion on that face, except this time, let's see how big do we need to make this. I'm going to type in 10 and see. That's way too big. In 3ds Max, I know that there's an option to where you can say like, go to this edge, but I don't know where it's at in this program yet, so I'm still going to try to figure that out. Let's type in 8 and see what happens there. That is really, really close. So I'll do like 7.9. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's actually let's do 6.9, and you'll see why I'm doing this in just a sec. So I'm going to type in 6.9. And then off of this edge, I'm going to select, or this face, I'm going to do one more extrusion, and I'm going to make it 1. Type in enter. And now, if anybody can take a guess, I'm going to select the bottom face here. This is actually why I did the 6.9 instead of 7.9, so that I could actually do an extrusion here. And I'm going to make this extrusion. And y'all, I know that this is kind of a tough concept to grasp right this second, but I'm going to do another extrusion going down. All right, and I guess this was like 9 or 8. I think it was 8. No, I guess it was 9. So I'm going to type in 9. There it goes. All right, just like that. And now this is where I'm gonna like kind of I'm gonna go back to shape mode or object mode, and all that I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna kind of I want y'all to see this. So like this whole object right here that I just made is all one piece. All right, and all that I did is that I just used the box and I did some extrusions to it. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of move this downwards. And let's see what kind of yeah, let's move it even further down. I want it to like touch. There it goes. Now here, as you can see, like it's a little bit bigger. So what I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm actually gonna just resize it to be a little bit thinner. Let's see if that'll work. I think that oh yeah, it does it like that direction. So I think that's good right there. I'm gonna move it so that way it's not like sticking over the edge. It's okay if it's on the inside a little bit, which I think that's going to be the case. Yeah, it's okay if it's on the inside just a little bit. But I'd rather it be towards the inside as opposed to like sticking out a little bit off of the sides, just like that. There it goes. Perfect. All right, y'all. Now this is going to be a little bit of a tougher concept right here, so I do need everybody to kind of pay attention to this. All right, so right now, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to try to cover for today. I think class ends at 45, if I'm not mistaken. So we've still got about 7 or 8 minutes. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to select edge. All right, and I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help. Y'all hear that? That's my other laptop. If I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help. You just need to unlock your device first. All right, give me 1 sec, y'all. I'm going to edit this out of the video, so my fault. All right, Cortana. There we go. Okay. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these. Actually, no, not those. I'm going to select these on the edges. All right. So right now, I'm underneath the part that I made for the chair. All right. So I'm like right underneath here. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two by holding down Control. I'm going to select these two edges. All right. The ones that are right directly across from each other. And all that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Connect. All right, and when you do that, you'll see that it actually creates a new edge between those two edges that you created there. All right, and now you can see that it subdivides, like it cuts. Instead of it just being one long edge along here, you now officially have like you have 4. And now this edge right here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my Move tool, and you can actually move this like, you know, going into a certain direction. So I'm just going to move this up. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make another, I'm going to hold down, select these 2 edges right there, and I'm going to click on Connect one more time. All right, and I'm just going to move this across. And I'm going to do this quite a few times because what I'm actually going to do here, and as you can start to, you'll probably start to pick up what I'm going to do. I am going to take my face, and I'm going to press Extrude. Oop, not yet. Sorry, I accidentally pressed that. I need to actually select the face first. Now I'm going to press Extrude. And now what I'm going to do is, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was 8. So I'm going to type in 8 here. See how far that goes up. And I guess that's not going to work. So I'm going to type in 9. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. All right, so that right there, let me go back to... All right, so that is the back of that chair. And as you can see, I'm going to start making like a little bit of a pattern here. Also, if you really want to, you can also create like another one going across here, but I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do now is, and what I'm going to get you all to do for the rest of the course, because I think we got about 4 minutes, is just create like other things going down along the back of the chair. And I want you all to save this. And tomorrow I'm going to show you all how to apply materials to this chair to give it more of a wooden look. And then we're actually going to create a desk tomorrow that goes along with this chair. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the basics of just modeling and editing geometry within your shapes. But again, like y'all, the only thing that we used today was box, right? We only used the box tool, or the box shape, I should say. So just know that we are in the very, very beginning of Clara.io. I'm really excited to see what things we can come up with. I'm learning this program along with you all too. So any cool stuff that y'all find online, any cool like tutorials that you all find online, or just out there, let me know. Like I had stuff that I had us do in 3ds Max, but there are some things that we can't do in Clara.io. So I'm still on the lookout for like very specific things that we could create, a lot of cool things that we could create, because we're going to start off with like really small stuff or like really basic stuff. But I'm really hoping that as the semester goes on, we'll get into like the more advanced things. But we'll see where it takes us. Okay, but that's what I've got for you all today. I will stick around a little bit to answer any questions. But if you don't have any, I will see you all tomorrow. All right. So give me one sec, y'all. All right.